All right. So in this case, we are going to consider our exam revision as we are preparing for our exams, which are ahead of time. We need to go through our November 2023 exam, which is 75 marks. So we're not going to waste much of our time. We need to quickly rush through our questions that we are given. Make sure that you go through your instructions and information. Make sure that you read all these if necessary. Round off your answers to 2 decimal places unless stated otherwise. Then also you are given that diagrams are not necessarily drawn to scale. So you are not supposed to measure any diagram that you're given. It is not given to a scale. So like I said, these are our questions. We are given section A, where we have got question number 1. Answer the following questions. By choosing the correct answer, circle the letter next to the correct answer. 1.1, we are given that a car travels at an average speed. We are given the speed of the car, which is at 762 kilometers per hour. Which formula represents the distance in kilometers? Take note, which is D, that the car travels in T hours. We are given the time in what? In hours as T. So how do you calculate the distance? Remember from our DST, it states that this is distance, speed, and we have the part of our time. So we need the distance. So that's the product of what? Speed and time. So distance is simply speed times the time. So the speed is supposed to be in kilometers per hour multiplied to the time, and our time is given as what? As t. So that is, we are going to have the product of the two, which is the first one. A was the best answer for us, where we have the product of those two, speed and what? And the time. Which of the following is not a polynomial on question 1.2? Remember that a polynomial is an algebraic expression which consists of one or more terms. So it must have one or more terms for which the exponents are natural numbers. So the exponents that we are given on those terms are supposed to be what? Natural numbers. We are supposed to be considering natural numbers, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Those are the exponents that we are supposed to be having when having a polynomial. So we can say 3 is part of this because it's a constant. So you can just leave this and say it's a constant. But if we take a closer look on B, we are having a square root there. The square root, it means this is the same as 5x to the exponent of a half. We are no longer having our exponent as a natural number because we are saying the exponent is supposed to be what? A natural number. So this is not, we are not having a natural number. The same thing that is happening on C. This is 1 over x squared, 1 over x squared. Remember, from your laws of exponents, it is same as x to the exponent of a negative. We do not have negative or natural numbers. So meaning to say this is not a polynomial. This is what we have with positive 7, that's positive 2, and this is a constant. So if we're to take a closer look of these questions that we are given, these two are not polynomials. So these two guys, they are not polynomials. We are supposed to have our exponents as what? Natural numbers. There, this is a half raised to the exponent of a half, the square root. It means to the exponent of 1 over, it's a fraction. A fraction is not a natural number. Natural number, we're talking about that. So there, we cannot say this is not, these two are not part of polynomials, all right? Then on 1.3, we are given to simplify this part that we are given, minus 2p to the exponent of 5, and there's q, everything raised to the exponent of 2. Remember, the exponent, when it is given, it is going to affect each and every term. The minus 2 is going to be raised to the exponent of 2. The p to the exponent of 5 is also going to be raised to the exponent of 2. So that's p to the exponent of 5 raised to the exponent of 2. Then the q is also going to be raised to the exponent of 2. So meaning to say minus raised to the exponent of 2 is what? That's a positive. So there we are simplifying minus 2 to the exponent of what? Of a 4. To the exponent of a 2. That's minus 2 times minus 2. So that is going to give us a 4. Remember, exponent and exponent, you multiply. So in this case, that's 5 times 2, which is a 10. P to the exponent of 10, then Q is going to remain as to the exponent of 2. So the best answer that we were going to have in this case was going to be a D. The minus 2 is also raised to the exponent of 2. So it's minus 2 raised to the exponent of 2 like this. So it will be a positive 4. So you're supposed to be very careful because sometimes your memo is going to be showing you something else whilst the answer is supposed to be something else. So make sure that you also do revise as much as you can. On 1.4, you're given which of the following graphs represent the lines y is equal to minus x plus 2, y is equal to x minus 2. So if we are to consider these graphs, they're already drawn for us. So in order for us to know the exact answer, it is best for us to determine the x-intercept and the y-intercept because we can see those are the ones that are being presented. So by knowing our x-intercept and the y-intercept, we can tell which of these graphs are given. So let's start with the first graph of y is equal to minus x plus 2. All right, so remember the y-intercept, that's on a condition where x is equal to 0. We have what? We have got our y-intercept. When x is equal to, in place of x, we substitute a 0 there. So y is equal to what? Minus 0 plus 2, of which, guys, this is the same as 0 plus 2, which is a 2. So the graph is going to pass through 0, 2. That's the y-intercept. We have got 0, 2. We have to find again the x-intercept using the same situation, but for the x-intercept, we understand that y is equal to 0. So in place of y, we are going to have a 0 there. That's minus x plus 2. Let's solve for x. Minus x to the other side, it becomes a positive. So x is equal to a 2. Meaning to say, it is going to pass through the x-intercept at x is equal to 2. That's the point what? 2, 0. So if we check on what we have on this graph, there's a graph that yes, we must have 0, 2 and 2, 0. We do not have that on this graph. This is at minus 2. So that is to tell us that graph B is totally out. Graph B is totally out. The graph that we are just left with is C. Comparing at this graph C, are we having this? 0, 2. Y-intercept is there. That's 0, 2 at point 2. The x-intercept is at x is equal to 2. At x is equal to 2. You can see this. So this is the line that we have for this graph of y is equal to minus x plus 2. So it means the remaining one is for y is equal to what? Is for y is equal to x minus 2, which is the remaining one. So this is a multiple choice. So by just proving one, we can see that this is going through the side that we want. This is in the negative side. So B is total out. These ones, they are total out. Remember, these are straightforward graph. It is passing through a 2 like this. It means y is equal to 2. This is the graph of x is equal to 2. Considering this graph, this is the graph of y is equal to minus 2. This is the graph of x is equal to minus 2. So these two, they are totally out from this graph that we want. So the best answer was going to be at C. All right, let's consider 1.5. Determine the rule of the following diagram. So we are given the rules as part of our answers, A, B, and D. So you can just substitute, guys, the values that you're given. Remember, the input is x. You substitute and see, are you getting the output that you're given? If x is equal to 1, you substitute a 1 in place of x. 5 times 1, that is 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6. We are supposed to get a 6, but here our answer is 4. So meaning to say this is wrong. We cannot take that as our rule, because the rule is supposed to give us exactly what we have on the output. So it means A is totally out. You move on to B, y is equal to 5x minus 1. We substitute x, which is 1, in place of x. So y is equal to 5 times 1 minus 1, which is 5 minus 1, that is a 4, which is exactly what we have there. But try and substitute another one to prove that it is exactly the one. We move on when x is 2. So y is equal to 5 into 2 minus 1. 5 times 2, that's 10 minus 1, which is going to give us 9. Exactly what we have. So B is the correct answer that we need. So we can substitute these other ones. You see, you're going to see that they are not going to give us anything that is corresponding here. So these ones, they're totally out. So the best answer was going to be B. So that is using multiple choice, guys. You can simply substitute your answers. Yes, you can actually determine the rule, because remember, this is a linear equation. You're already seeing that the presentation, the difference that we have on the output here, the difference between these two, 9 minus 4, that is a 5. 14 minus 9, that's a 5. 19 minus 40, that's a 5. We can see that there's a common difference. It's a linear. We are talking about what? A straight line. And we know that the equation of a straight line is given in the form of what? Y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the gradient, the change in y over the change in x. So you can use this point to say the first one, when it is 1, the output is what? This is y. And when x is 2, it's a point. What is the value of y there? 9. So you've got 2 versus 9. So you can call this x1, y1. This is x2, y2. So you can use the proper way. You can use this proper way. Find m. M represents what? The gradient. M is equal to the change in y over the change in x. So you can actually do that. That is y2, which is 9, minus y1. So that's 9 minus 4. X2 minus x1, that's 2 minus 1. That was going to give us 5. So meaning to say y is equal to m, remember, is the gradient. So in place of m, you substitute a 5. So that was going to give us 5x plus c. So to find the value of c, we can substitute any corresponding point that you are given. Remember, you're saying when x is 1, y is equal to what? 4. That's a point. Y is 4. So in place of y, you can substitute 4. When x is what? When x is equal to 1. You can use this one. Still, we are going to have the same value of c. 5 times 1, that's 5. You take it to the other side, so it will be 4 minus 5, which is minus 1. So minus 1 is equal to c. So therefore, we can rewrite this equation with c. In place of c, we substitute here where the c is, we substitute minus 1. So y is equal to 1. So you can see that we are still going back to the b that we obtained. So that's another way that you could have calculated if you are using, or if you want to use the exact way of your simplification, or you can just take advantage of the answers that you are given, then try to see which one is the exact answer there. On question 2, 2.1, we are given 8m squared, 16mn, 16m, write down 2.11, the HCF. So in order for you to have, we can see that these numbers are actually common. 8, 16, and 16. These are common numbers. So considering the HCF, 8 is the highest number that can be divided into these numbers. So you can take 8. Then in terms of the letters, it must be common throughout. We do not have a letter which is common. There is M here, there is M, but here we do not have M. So you cannot take that one. If you consider N, we have got N here, we've got N here, we do not have any on the first one. So in terms of the letters, we do not have any common letter there. So that is the HCF is simply going to remain as what? As 8. HCF is going to be 8. Then the LCM, we are talking about the lowest common multiple. 16. This 16 is the multiple of all these numbers. Remember, talking of 8, 16, 24, 32, and so on. 16 is a multiple of what? Of 8. Which is a multiple of also 16. 16 is a multiple of 16. It is a multiple of 8. So meaning to say, we can write 16. Remember the LCM in terms of the letters, we do not consider to say the letter is common as long the letter is given, or as long the variable is given, we are going to take it. But we have to consider where we are having the highest exponent, like in terms of m, this is the highest exponent compared to this m that we have. So we're going to take the highest exponent. In terms of n, as long we have n, they have the same exponent. So we're just going to write as n. But if there was another one which has a higher exponent, we're going to take the one that has got a higher exponent. So that's your LCM. Just for 1 mark, you can see that it's a direct question. Then 2.2, we are given Mary, Tando, and John each had 3,000 to spend. So they have 3,000 rand to spend on a trip to Durban. They use different companies to book their accommodation. So these are the companies that they are given. Company A offers 20% discount. This is company A. Then company B offers to pay 3/4 of the total price if you pay cash. And company C had no special offer. So company C, if you pay 3,000, there is nothing that is going to be offered. It will be just 3,000 as it is. That is the amount. There is no discount for company C. So they are saying, complete the table below by filling in the amount after discount in the last column. The amount that is found after a discount. Remember, they are saying company A, it is giving 20% discount. Out of what? Out of the 3,000 which was paid. So we're going to find 20%. 20 over 100 times what? Times 3,000, the amount that was being paid. So 20% of this, what are we going to have? So 20% is going to be 600. So after discount now, we have to subtract. A discount you subtract. So meaning to say after discount, 3,000, we subtract the discount. This is our discount. So what will be the amount to be paid? So you subtract the 600. This person is going to pay 2,400 rand in total. Discount, that is, we remove that. Company B, remember it said we are going to pay 3/4 of the total price. So if the total price is 3,000, we are going to pay 3/4 of that. So it's 3/4 multiply to the money that was being paid, which is 3,000. So 3/4 of 3,000, it is going to give us what? That was going to give us 2,250. You pay 3/4 of. 3/4 of is the one that you are paying. So 3/4 of this amount is the one that you are paying. So this is what you're paying at the end. We are not going to subtract anything. A discount is a minus, but if you're told you are going to pay half of this amount or 1/4 of this amount, we do not we just have to calculate. If it is half of the amount, you just half times that amount. That is what you're going to pay. 3/4 of the amount, you just 3/4 of that amount. That is what you're going to pay. Then we are given on 2.3 the current exchange rate at the Polish zloty to South African rand is 1:4,47. So we have got two. That is the Polish zloty like this, as to what? As to the South African rand in that case. So this is what you're given as a ratio, 4,47, meaning to say this is simply 1 is equal to 4,47 rand. So convert 18,356,26 to the Polish zloty that you're given. So what is going to be the equivalent of 18,356,26? So we do not know the equivalent. Let's just call it X. So you can just find X, guys. Remember, cross multiplication. This multiplies here. This multiplies here. So it's X times 4,47, which is 4,47. X is equal to 1 multiplies the 18. So it's going to be 18,356,26. We want to find X, so we're going to divide by 4,4 like this. So that's our amount in that case. So you have to play around your ratio in a proper way. So that was going to give us 4,106,55 to 2 decimal places. Make sure that you just use your calculator. All right, so that is the amount of the Polish zloty that you are given. So that is what you're going to obtain for 2 marks, guys. For 2 marks, I think it's just enough. You just need to make sure you apply or use your calculator properly in that case. On 2.4, you are given That is, cow buys furniture worth 3,000, that is 33,100 rand. She pays 10% deposit and takes out a higher purchase loan to pay off. All right. To pay off the balance over a period of 36 months, meaning to say 36 divided by 12, that is what, 3 years, over a period of what? 3 years, at a simple interest rate of 11% per annum. How much will cow pay in total? All right. If you are to take note, they said this guy has to pay a 10% deposit. So let's start by the deposit first. We paid a 10%. So that is 10 over 100. Remember to remove a percent. The amount, the actual price of that furniture, which is 33,100. So we're going to obtain 3,310 from our calculator. This is the deposit. The deposit. But take note, they are saying, and it takes out a higher purchase loan. A higher purchase loan is a simple interest to pay off the balance. So the balance is the one that is being paid off. So we need the balance after this deposit. What is the balance? So the balance is the difference. The actual price, which was supposed to be paid 33,100 minus the deposit. You paid 3,130, 310 like this. 3,310. So what is going to be the balance, the remaining amount to be paid? It was going to be 29,709. This is the balance, the amount that is supposed to be paid. But in order for you to pay this amount, you're not going to pay exactly this amount. You are going to pay more because it is going to be considered as a loan, which is paid over a simple interest where the amount to be paid over that period is equal to P into 1 plus IN like this. Remember your simple interest formula. So this is the amount to be paid over these 3 years as a loan. So the principal is the balance. So the principal, this one, is the balance that is to be paid. What is it that is supposed to be paid? 29,790 into what? 1 plus the interest rate as a decimal. This is 11%. You divide by 100. And the number of years, not the months, but the number of years. How many years? 36 months is equal to how many years? 3 years. Remember this. So you're going to obtain the amount that was going to be repaid as a loan. So this was going to be 39,620,7. But this is money. So you put another decimal, 2 decimal places. So this guy at the end, how much is he going to pay in total? So the amount in total now that is going to be paid, to be repaid in total, it is going to be this amount paid over 3 years as a loan, which is the 39,620.70 plus the deposit. Remember, you deposited this amount in the first place. In order for him to take that furniture, you are supposed to pay a deposit first. So you must add that deposit. That is to obtain all the amount that was to be paid now later on, everything that he had to pay. So that was going to give us 42,930.70. This is everything that he was going to pay in a total. So that was what we had. Then on 2.42, they want you to determine how much interest will be paid. So the interest is simply the total amount, everything that was paid in total minus the actual price, the cash price. So in this case, in terms of our interest, it was just going to be a direct question. What he paid, everything in total, he paid 42,930.70 minus what was the exact price? What was the exact price before he paid this? What was the exact price? The exact price, remember, it was 33,100, the price of the furniture. That was 33,100. So the difference, that is the interest to be paid, 9,830.70. And that is what he paid in extra. Instead of paying this amount as the cash price, he had to pay this in extra under a higher purchase agreement that was given there. All right, then let's 2,100 into a savings account, which is your principal, which earns compound interest at a rate of 7.5% per annum, which is per year. Determine how much money will be in your savings account after 5 years. Use this formula or this formula, given two formulas to use them. So considering the first formula, it is given amount is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 to the exponent of n. There you just have to take your values as they are. The principal is it 1 plus the R is the interest rate, the rate that you as it is as a percentage, you take it as a percentage when you're given this formula. So it will be 7.5 over 100 is for removing that percentage. So everything is raised to the exponent of n, the number of years, which is what? Which is 5 years. So if you're given this, we can simply evaluate the amount that we are to find. So there we just need our calculators to get direct. That is going to give us the amount of 3,589.07 to 2 decimal places. But if you're using this other formula, the I that we are seeing here is a decimal. This is already divided by 100, the decimal part. So you take the 7.5 that you're given here, interest. You take that 7.5, you divide it by 100 first. So by dividing by 100, it was going to give us 0.075. That is for you to use that second formula, you must divide that. So I there represents the decimal percentage that you are given. So meaning to say A is equal to, so that's another way. The principal is not going to change as it is 2,500 into 1 plus the I that you are given, which is the decimal part is what? That's 0.075 to the exponent of n, the number of years after how many years? After 5 years. So this is to the exponent of 5. So nothing has changed. Only this part is the one that you're going to consider. So you're going to simply obtain the same answer, 3,589.07, like that, which is the amount to be in the bank after that period of time. Question number three, which is 3.1. What is the multiplicative inverse of minus 24? The multiplicative inverse, remember, it's a condition where you multiply x to 1 over that number, which is x, in order for us to obtain a 1. So if our x is minus 24, we need 1 over that, 1 over minus 24. That is the multiplicative inverse. 1 over that. If it is x, 1 over x. So the number is minus 24, so 1 over minus 24, just like that. So simplify the following without the use of a calculator. So we can simplify this one. What is the square root of 36? The number that multiplies itself to give us 36. That is a 6. The cube root of minus 216. That is minus 6. Minus 6 times minus 6 times. So even if you use your calculator, when they say do not use a calculator, they do not want you to simplify everything direct like that on your calculator. But for you to simplify the cube root of minus 216, use your calculator, simplify that. The cube root of minus 216, it is going to give us what? Minus 6. Then plus, we multiply this. This is a bracket and a bracket, so that's a product. Minus 1 times minus 2, that's a positive 2. So simplifying this, 6 plus and minus, that will give us a minus. So that's 6 minus 6, which is what? Which is a 0. So that's 0 plus 2, which is going to give us what? A 2. So that is what we have, guys. Then we can simplify 3.22 in the same manner. That is minus 5 plus and a minus. That's a minus. So that's minus 8. There we have a product again. We have 4 and minus 3, these two. They are multiplying each other. So we are going to obtain what? Minus 12. So it's minus 12, which is simply going to give us what? A plus. So that is, we are going to obtain minus 5, minus 8, plus a 12. So minus 5 minus 8, that is minus 13. And we have got minus 13 plus 12, which is what? Which is minus 1. So this one, it was going to give us a negative 1 at the end. Then on question 3.3, we are given that Ritavile works part-time at a nearby food outlet. She earns 1,312.0, which is fortnight, which was deposited in a bank account. She withdraws 1,200 and then it deposits 400 after a week. how much money does Retavile have in a bank account now? So this is what happened. After being given money, the money was deposited direct into the bank. To deposit, that's a plus. So 1,312 was deposited. Then what happened after that? She withdraws. That is, she takes out this amount. So to withdraw, that's a minus. To take out, so she's going to subtract 1,200. After some time, she then deposits 400. To deposit, that is to add into the bank. So she deposited 400, she added 400 into the bank. So that was our condition. So it was going to give us 512. So there you can just use your calculator. You're going to obtain 5, which is 4.1. Choose the correct word from those given in brackets. Exponents or expressions are a shorter way of writing a repeated multiplication of the same number by itself. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 is multiplying itself 4 times is 2 to the power of 4. Which part is it? This is part of exponents, not expressions. So the best answer there was supposed to be what? Exponents. 4.2. Each of the statements below has an error. Each of these ones, there's an error there. Write the correct statement next to each one. So the first one, they are saying this is wrong. What is the correct answer? We are multiplying. So remember, you just have to add the exponent. This is 1, this is 1. So we're going to have P, 1 plus 1, that is 2. In terms of Q, this is 1, this is 1. So Q times Q, that is going to give us Q squared. So this was supposed to be the correct statement. 4.22. XY plus XY, it cannot give us this. This is addition. These are like terms. So this is 1, this is 1. So we are simply adding 1 plus 1, which is algebraic expressions. And on 4.23, that is 5 to the exponent of 4 multiplied to 1 over, this is 1 over 5 to the exponent of a negative 3. So the moment you write as 1 over, on top, it will be 5 to the exponent of a positive. Remember, I talked about this on our laws. Exponent of n, a positive n. But if you are multiplying the bases, which are the same like this, what is that you do? You add the exponents. So it was going to be 5 to the exponent of 4 plus 3, which is 5 to the exponent of what? Of 7. If the bases are the same, your multiplier has to be 5 to the exponent of 7. 4.3, simplify this. All right, so what are we having here? 8r to the exponent of 3. Let us just leave it like that. But we can see that there's a 2 here, there's a 2. So it's best for us to write also 8 in terms of 2. Remember, 8, that is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 to the exponent of 3. R to the exponent of 3 times, we simplify this part. 2 is outside of the bracket, so it is not affected by this 4 that we are seeing there. It is not affected. It is outside of the bracket. It is the r squared that is affected. R squared to the exponent of a 4. Remember, exponent, you multiply. So that is r to the exponent of what? 8. 2 times 4, that is 8. You divide. 2 to the exponent of 4 is not affected by that exponent. It's on its own. 2 to the exponent of 4 on its own. Then the r is the one that is affected there. So that's r squared times, you multiply 2 times 5, which is a 10. So let's consider that we have got the same bases. The base of 2. Let's consider the base of 2 on its own, that we have got the same base there of 2. Here you've got 2, you've got 2. How do you simplify? Okay, considering a multiplication, the top there, it's a multiplication. Remember that you add the exponents. 2 to the exponent of 3 plus 1. This 2 is same as what? Raised to the exponent of 1. But what about this 2 to the exponent of 4 in the denominator? It's a division, so we subtract. That's a minus 4. So in terms of 2, we are done. We move on to the part of r there. We have got this r there. We have got this r there on top. It's a product, so you add 3 plus 8. But this one, r to the exponent, subtract the exponent. So this is going to be a minus 10. So that's it. You can simplify this. 3 plus 1, which is 4. 4 minus 4, that's a 0 there. 2 to the exponent of 0 times r to the exponent 3 plus 8, that is 11 minus 10, which is 1. So it is going to give us, so that's 1 times r, which is what? Which is r. So you just have to be similar to this. Just given this pattern, write down the next 2 terms of the sequence. So if we are to consider In this case, there is a difference. 6 minus 3, which is 3. 11 minus 6, which is 5. 18 minus 11, which is 7. So we can see that these numbers 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. There's something about these numbers. There's just a difference of 2. 3, 5, 7. It was supposed to be 3, 4, 5. Or we can say these numbers that we are talking about, they are referred to as what? As odd numbers. 3, 5, 7. What is the next odd number? Which is 9. The next odd number, which is 11. So we are just adding these odd numbers to the next one. 18, we add 9 there. So what are we going to have if we add 9? 18 plus 9 was going to give us 27. We add the next odd number, which is 11. On this one, we add 11. So 27 plus 2 digits, that's 27 and the 38. So it was a straightforward question. 5.2, in a school hall, the chairs are stacked on top of each other like this. They're being stacked on top of each other. One chair is 55 meters high. When two chairs are stacked together, the chairs are 61 meters high, 61 centimeters high. So if we check the first one, it was 55. We put the next one, we have 61. So what is the difference between these? Because it is not supposed to be 61, because remember 55, this one was supposed to be maybe 55. We put another 55, but that is not the case. What is the difference that is happening between these chairs? 61 minus 55, there's a difference of 6. So meaning to say, from one chair to another chair, there's a difference of 6 centimeters. Yeah, 6 centimeters. From one chair to another, there's a difference of 6. There's a difference of 6. There's a difference of 6 centimeters. That is what it means. So the question now is that, determine the height in centimeters if 3 chairs are stacked on top of each other. So if there's a difference of 6, it means also the third one here must have a difference of 6. So you just have to add a 6. So 61 plus 6 is what? Is 67. So meaning to say the next chair, the height that we are going to realize there is going to be what? 67 centimeters. So it's a linear pattern that we are actually having there. So they are asking now on 5.22, if the stack of chairs is 145 centimeters high, how many chairs are in the stack? So we can even write these numbers from 55, 61, 67. Remember, there's a difference of 6. We add up to 145. We count all the numbers that are there. 1, 2, 3, up to, we count all the numbers that we have there. We have to count all of them. We are going to obtain 16 chairs by doing that, if you write in order of these numbers up to 145. But this is a normal calculation that we have from our number patterns. Remember, there's a difference of 6 between these chairs. So this is a linear pattern if we see properly. Where a linear pattern, we do understand that Tn is equal to, we can have the difference times n plus c. So the common difference is one that we put, whereby our common difference is what? Is 6. Remember, there's a difference of what? There's a difference of 6 between these chairs. That is between this part that we are given. All right. Remember, it was 55, 6, and so on. So n is equal to 6n plus c. N, this one, that is the number that is multiplied, is the difference. So to find the c, we can simply substitute to say the first one. This is the first term. So it means T1, the first term, is equal to what? To 55. So the first term that is corresponding to Tn, we can say 55 is equal to 6, where n is the one that is the first one. We are talking about 1 there. So we can find the value of what? The value of c that we are given. So this is going to give us what? 6 to the other side. Remember, 6 times 1 is 6. We subtracted 55 minus 6 was going to give us a 49. So 49 is equal to c, equal to 6n that we had there, plus a c. What is our c? Our c is what? Is 49. So understanding this is a relationship that is connecting the number of chairs to the total of the height. So there we are given the total height, which is 145. So how many chairs we are supposed to find? Tn is 145. To say this one, it's 145. So that you need to solve for what? You need to solve for n. It's an equation. So how can we solve for n? We can simply take the 49 there. It's going to be a negative 145 minus 49, which is 96, is equal to 6n. Simply divide by 6 by 6. So n is equal to 16. So as you can see, that's the same answer as the one that you could have obtained by counting, by writing them down. You write them down 55. You add them. Remember, there's a difference of 6. From one chair to another, there's a difference of 6. So if you had 67, you add 6, you are going to obtain 73. You add the 6 to that one, you're going to obtain a 79. You add until you get to 145 at the end, and you count them 1, 1. You're going to obtain 16 values. So I want you to try that one. Then, but you're supposed to know these guys, this relationship, because you see also they are simply asking that same relationship. Describe the relationship in the form of Tn is equal to this. So remember, we need the output there. Is there a difference, a common difference, so that we know that is a linear pattern? It's a linear relationship. So this is your first, second, and so on. So you subtract minus 12, minus 17 like this, minus 12, minus 17. So it was going to be a plus, which was going to give us a 5. So there's a difference of 5. You do the same thing, minus 7, minus 12, minus 7, minus 12. It was going to give us a plus, and that was going to give us a 5, 5, 5, 5 throughout. So it means the Tn is equal to 5n plus c, which is a value to be found. So in this case, we are not going to say this is the first term, which corresponds to minus 17. There we are given exactly the value of n. N is minus 2, when Tn is what? Minus 17. So we substitute Tn, we say it's minus 17. But what is the value of n at that moment? It is minus 2. So that's 5 times minus 2. This is what we are given, plus c. Just like that, we can find the value of c. Sorry, that's a minus here. 5 times minus 2, that's a minus 10. So we take it to the other side of the equation. It will be minus 17 plus a 10. It will be a positive there, which is what? A negative 7. So negative 7 is equal to c, meaning to say, therefore, Tn is equal to 5n plus or minus plus, and a minus c is a minus 7. So it is going to be a negative 7 there, just like that. So this is the relationship that is representing, that is connecting n and this Tn. Calculate the missing input value n, the missing here. What are we given? We are given the output. We are given Tn. So you can just substitute to say Tn, we are given that it's 13. So 13 is equal to 5n minus 7. What have you formed? An equation where you can solve for what? For n. This is a linear equation, so you can solve for n. Take the minus 7 to the other side, it becomes a 13. It becomes a positive, sorry. So that's 13 plus 7, which is 20. So that's a product. So simply divide by 5 both sides. So it means our n was going to be what? A 4. So the exact value there was going to be a 4. So questions can be like that. You just have to be very careful. 6.1, choose the correct property from those given in brackets. The associative or commutative property says that the sequence or order of numbers that you add or multiply does not matter. A plus B is equal to B plus A. Or that you multiply, the order does not matter. AB is equal to BA. Which of these states that? That is the commutative. So in this case, correct answer was supposed to be what? The commutative property states that the order. Write down this value in words. 547,286,380. They're saying write it in words. So the way that I'm being stating is the one that you're supposed to actually write it as. So it's 547. 547 million. So this whole part is under a million. Then we move to 286,000. So that is 286. So we need 80 there. That is 86,000. 86,000. Then the rest there is the 380. So you can just put a comma there and have it as what? 380. 300. And all right. So that is it in words. All right. Consider the other question given this 12a to the exponent of 2 plus 8a to the exponent of 5. Then we are given 4a squared is one of the factor of the above expression. Determine the other factor. It's just like you're given 6. Then they're saying 2 is a factor of 6. Find the other by 2, which is what? 3. So 3 is another factor. So even under expressions, you just have to divide. This is a factor. So it means the other factor is simply going to be a division. 12a squared plus what? A to the exponent of 5 like this, you divide. That's obtaining another factor. So 4 into 12, that is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. A squared and a squared cancels. Plus 8 divided by 4, that's a 2. A to the exponent of 5 and a to the exponent of 2 is going to give us a to the exponent of 3. There are 2 into these ones, which are 5. 3 are going to remain, or you subtract 5 minus 2, which is what? 3. So this is the other factor. Or you can consider factorization. One of these, you take it out. 4a squared is the common factor. So you factor it out into this expression. We factor it, 12a squared divided by this. So still we're going to obtain the same answer, 3 plus 2a to the exponent of 3. So this is the other factor, this one, the other bracket that we are seeing there. The other factor, that is the other bracket. So we can do it by factorization. It's up to you. 6.4. Determine the value of this expression if r is 1 and s is minus 2. So you just have to substitute in place of r, that is 2, 1 to the exponent of 2, minus 8 times r, which is 1, s is minus 2. All right, minus 9, s squared, s is minus 2, so that's minus 2 squared plus a 7. So let's simplify. 1 squared, that's 1 times 2, which is 2, minus 2 times 8 times 2, 16 times 1 is 16, minus 2 squared raised to the power of 2, that's a 4. So you've got minus 9 times 4, which is minus 36. So that's a negative 36 plus a straightforward, you're going to obtain negative 11. So just like that. Simplify the following. We are given, this is the whole bracket that we are given there. So in this case, so I'm very sorry, my network is just affecting here and there. So I just hope this part is clear from this part. We just have to divide each and every term. Each and every term we divide to the minus 3xy that you're given. So you can cancel this. Then on 6.52, you are given to determine the cube root of a negative of this. This is positive 27 y to the exponent of 6. So we can determine, remember the cube root of 27. This one, you can even use your calculator there. That is a 3. Then the part of y, which is raised to the exponent of 2. How do you remove that cube root? It is same as to the exponent of 6. You divide by the number inside of the cube, inside of the root sign, which is the 3. So that is going to give us what? 6 divided by 3, which is a 2. So that was going to be 3y squared. So that is how you can simplify these typical questions. So I just hope you might be able to finish due to this network issue. I just hope we'll be able to finish up all these questions. On question number 7, we are given, write down the following statement algebraically. 4 times the sum of what? Twice a number. So we do not know the number. Let's say it's x. So twice, it means 2 times of that number. And 6, they are saying the sum of what? Twice a number and 6. Twice a number. This is the sum. But what do we need from this sum? We need 4 times of that sum. 4 times of this sum is supposed to be equal to what? Equal to 32. That is what we are given. This is the sum of twice a number and a 6. During the class discussion, 4 learners disagree on the correct step in solving the following equation. 4x minus 3 is equal to 2x minus 7. We are given learner 1, learner 2. This is how they wrote. Which learner is correct? Write down the correct step. So when you are solving, we can take the 2x this side. It becomes a minus. So it will be 4x minus 2x. We take the minus 3 this side. It will be a positive. So it will be 3 minus 7. So which one is correct? 4x minus 2. There is a 4x minus 2 here. 4x minus 2 here. The other one is supposed to be 3 minus 7. 3 minus 7. This one is wrong. This is 7 minus 3. So the correct answer is supposed to be from learner number 1. So which learner is correct? The learner 1 is the one that is correct with the step that we are having here of 4x minus 2x, which is equal to 3 minus 7. So that is what we have. Solve the following equations. The first one is quadratic equation that we are given. So we can simply do this by our factorization. Remember the coefficient there of x squared is 1. So simply have 2 brackets. All right, so you're going to have x and x here. What are the factors of negative 3? But these products or factors of negative 3 must add up to minus 2. Products of minus 3. There is minus 3 and 1. There is 3 and minus 1. If we multiply, we get minus 3. If we multiply, we get minus 3. But which part, when you add, you must get a minus 2. When you add, you must get a minus 2. So this is where we are going to get a minus 2. This one was going to give us a positive 2 when you add. So when we add these factors or these products, where we obtain minus 2, those are the ones that we need. So we need what? Minus 3 and a plus 1. So that's minus 3 plus 1. This must be equal to 0. So it's an equation. So when you say this bracket is equal to 0, x minus 3 is equal to 0, or the remaining bracket of x plus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to what? Take the minus 3 that side, it becomes a positive, or x is going to be 1, on the other is minus 1. Just like that. Again, solving this equation, we are given that is p minus 3 over 4. Then we have got p minus 1 over 3p. So this is same as over 1. So you can simplify the LCD of this 3. That is 4, 3, 2, and 1. What is the LCD or the LCM? 4, 3, and what? 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the LCD there or the LCM was going to be a 12. So you can simply multiply this one by 12. We multiply here by 12 each LCD. So 4 into 12, that's a 3. So that is going to be 3 into p minus 3. minus 3 into 12, that's 12 divided by 3, which is 4, into this bracket of P minus 1. We do the same thing, 12 divided by 2, that's a 6. Then it's going to be 6 times P, which is 6P. 1 into 12, that's 12 times minus 1, which is minus 12. So as you can see, we have a linear equation where we can expand our brackets. Distribute this first bracket by 3 into this bracket, everything. 3 times P, that's 3P. 3 times minus 3, that's minus 9. Minus 4 multiplies P, that is going to be minus 4P. Minus 4 and minus 1, that's a positive 4. So this is equal to 6P minus 12. We can collect the like terms from there, the terms where we have P, the part where we have P. So there we have got P, there we have got P, and there, all right, let's call this is the right hand side. Let's consider what is on the left-hand side only. So that is 3 minus 4, which is minus 1P, which is same as minus P. The numbers that are remaining, minus 9 and what? And 4. Minus 9 plus 4, that's a positive 5. That's a negative 5, this one, sorry, which is equal to 6P minus 12. Collecting the terms of P on one side, we can take this P to the other side. Then we take the minus 5 to the other side of the equation. So the moment that P crosses to this side, this 6P, it becomes a minus there. So it will be minus P minus 6P is equal to the minus 5. The moment it crosses the equal sign on that other side, it will be a positive 5. So it will be 5 minus 12. So minus P means minus 1P. So it's minus 1 minus 6, which is minus 7. P is equal to 5 minus 12, which is minus 7. So what is the value of P? If minus 7P is equal to minus 7, we can simply divide by a negative 7. So this is going to cancel. So this one and this one cancels. So P is equivalent to what? A positive 1. So it can be like that. Questions can be direct like that. You just have to be very careful. 7.4, we are given that Roy left the house and drove south at an average speed. So we are given the speed that Roy is traveling at. He is moving at 40 kilometers per hour. Rose left after some time later on in the same direction as Roy at an average speed. This one is moving at an average speed of 48 kilometers per hour. After driving for 5 hours, Rose caught up. After driving, this is the time for Rose. So for Rose, we are given the time frame. He drove for what? For 5 hours and caught up with Roy after 5 hours. Then he caught up with what? With Roy. So they're asking you, how long did Roy drive before Rose caught up with him? So in order for us to know the time, how long it is the time that they're asking us here, how can we know that time? It is easier that we work with Rose first, because when they meet, it means they have traveled or they have drove for the same distance. So taking advantage of the Rose, because Rose has got speed and also the from Rose first. Where we talk about this DST, guys, distance is equal to speed times time, meaning to say the distance traveled by Rose, which is the same as the distance also traveled by Roy, is going to be from the speed times the time we take where it is complete. So the time is 240 kilometers. But this is not what they are being asked. They are asking us the time, how long. This is the time that Roy had to drive. If he has to cover 240 kilometers, when they meet, it means they've traveled for the same distance. So we have the distance here, which is 240 kilometers. So what will be our time? Given distance and speed, how do you find time? It's distance over what? Distance over speed. So time, distance over speed. So we are given the distance 200 and what? 220. That's your distance. 240, sorry, over the speed. What is the speed for Roy? You're calculating for what? For Roy this time, not for Rose, but for Roy. What was his speed? He was moving at what? He was driving at 40 kilometers per hour. So you divide. That was going to give us 6, which is the time frame, 6 hours. So he drove for 6 hours, whilst Rose drove for what? For 5 hours at his speed, Roy drove for 6 hours at his speed. All right, question number 8, match the description in column A with the graph in column B. We are given 8.11. The gradient is negative. Which one that we have that is a negative gradient? Remember, negative gradient, a line is supposed to be like this. So the best answer is B. So that is where we have a negative gradient. 8.12, the gradient is positive. The line is supposed to be going up. So where are we having the line going up? That is C. So that's where we have the positive gradient. So the positive gradient is on C. 8.13, the gradient is undefined. We cannot calculate the gradient on a what? On a vertical line. Gradient cannot be calculated. So D was supposed to be the best answer. The gradient is 0 if the line is what? Horizontal. Where we have, so the best answer was supposed to be what? Was supposed to be A. You need to interpret your graphs in this way. As this, you need to interpret. As you can see, they can even ask you that. But if you look into the graphs from our grade 8, I explained that you can even go through and see about this so that you can understand much better from there. 8.2, we are given the fig below is a straight line graph. Study the graph and answer the questions that follow. We are given as a straight line, we have got point A, which is at 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember this X in the y-axis, X is equal to what? X is equal to 0. So the point is 0 what? 0, 4. This is the x-axis where y is equal to 0. So the point at B there is minus 4, 0. Remember, a point is made up of x followed by what? Followed by y. So they are saying on question 8.21, calculate the coordinates, all right? The coordinates of A is 0, 4. Determine the coordinates of B. So already, guys, this is what I was mentioning here. Our A and B. So B is what? Minus 4, 0, already given that. So if you check the graphs I mentioned about how taking these coordinates, the value of X and the value of Y, so they said direct part, and also calculating of the gradient, I talked about this. Determine the gradient of line AB using this formula y2 minus y1. So we just take this as x1, y1, this is x2, y2. So they said that's 8.22. Use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's just a matter of substituting. What is our y2? So according to my points, y2, that's a 0 there, minus y1, which is a 4, over x2, according to my points, x2 is minus 4, minus x1, which is a 0. So that was going to give us a positive 1. That's 0 minus 4, which is minus 4 over minus 4 minus 0 to obtain what? A positive 1. Then after writing this gradient, they want you to write down the equation of the line AB in this form. Remember, M is the gradient. Remember that. So Y is equal to M. Already we calculated our gradient. We said our gradient is what? Is 1. Our gradient is 1. So we're going to substitute in place of X, you substitute X, in place of M. That's 1X is equal to X plus C. So C, remember, it is the y-intercept. Yes, you can substitute one of these points in order for you to find the value of C. But guys, the line is straightforward. We can see it. This is our line. Passing through the y-axis at what? We can see where exactly y-axis, at which point? At 4. Remember, C is the y-intercept. It is crossing this line. It is crossing the y-intercept at what? At 4. So we have the value of C there. The y-intercept is what? Is 4. So our line will be y is equal to x plus 4. Direct. The line was direct. The y-intercept is there. Or you can substitute any point. Like I'm saying, you can any point. You can substitute the point B. You can substitute the point A that you are given. Remember, you're given the point A is what? Is 0, 4. You can substitute and see y is equal to x plus what? Plus C. When x is 0, y is 4. So 4 is equal to x. It's 0 there plus C. So 4 is equal to 0 plus C. That's what? That's C. So meaning to say C is equal to 4, which is the same answer that we got there. So we can even substitute any of the points. You're going to obtain your C as 4, or you can take it from the graph, the y-intercept, as we can see from that graph. 8.24, on the Cartesian plane above, on this Cartesian plane that we have here, draw the graph of x is equal to minus 2. How do you draw the line of x is equal to minus 2? We simply need where x is at minus 2. Where are we having x being at minus 2? This is our x values. Minus 2 on the negative side. This is where we have minus 2 here. So the line of x is equal to minus 2 is a vertical line which is drawn passing through the minus 2 that we are seeing in the x values. Passing through the minus 2 here, a vertical line is straight going up like this. That's the line of x is equal to what? Minus 2. Passing through this minus 2. So that's our line. X is equal to minus 2. If it is y is equal to minus, it passes through the y values at minus 2, a horizontal line like this. That's y is equal to minus 2. But this one is for what? For x. So it was going to pass through the value of x at minus 2. So that was it, guys, in this revision. Our question paper, in order for us to obtain the full marks that we are given, and we just need to work as much revisions as we can as we are preparing for our exams, right? As we are preparing our exams. In any questions, the comment section is there so that you can communicate and see which areas that we can work with as we are preparing for our exams. And I also need to know the days that we are going to write so that we can see if there is a need for us to add other topics or other areas in terms of our revision or other question papers in our preparations.